Be me. 33F, marketing consultant from London. Been living in England my whole life. Working in creative industry, decent career, independent. Meet an American guy named Jake at a conference in Barcelona. He's 35, works in tech, based in Austin, Texas. We hit it off immediately, long conversations about everything. He's charming, confident, very different from British men I've dated. We exchange numbers, start talking daily after the conference. Video calls, messages, the whole long-distance thing. 3 months later, he flies to London to visit me. We spend an amazing week together exploring the city. He's attentive, opens doors, insists on paying for everything. I find it a bit much, but also kind of sweet. British men I've dated were more casual about this stuff. 6 months of flying back and forth between London and Austin. Then he asks me to move to Texas, says he wants to get married. This feels fast by British standards. My friends think it's mental. We barely know each other. But I'm in love and American optimism is infectious. Accept his proposal, start planning the move. Get married in small ceremony, half my family flies over. His family is lovely, very warm and welcoming. Much more openly affectionate than British families. Move into his house in Austin suburbs. It's huge compared to my London flat. 3 bedrooms, garden, 2-car garage. This is going to be an adjustment. First month, and the cultural differences start showing. Jake expects dinner ready when he gets home from work. Not in a demanding way, just assumes that's how it works. I'm still working remotely for London clients. So, I'm home more, but that doesn't mean I'm housewife. Bring this up one evening. He looks confused, says his mom always had dinner ready. I tell him my mom worked full-time too. She and dad sorted dinner together. He says sure, but his dad worked longer hours. So, his mom handled the home stuff, made sense. This is my first hint we have different templates. Week 3. And we're at dinner with his colleagues. The wives are all talking about their kids and schools. The men talking about work and sports. I try to join the men's conversation about a project. They're polite, but clearly uncomfortable. One wife gently pulls me back to the women's group. Says the men like to talk shop without us. I find this bizarre. In London, everyone just mingles. Talk to whoever about whatever. This gender segregation at social events is new to me. Later mention this to Jake in the car. He doesn't see the problem. Says that's just how dinners go here. Men and women have different interests. I push back, but I'm interested in work talk. He says sure, but the other wives aren't. Don't want to make them uncomfortable. This bothers me, but I let it go. Month 2, and we're arguing about housework. I'm still working full-time remotely. He works in office 9 to 6, but somehow I'm doing 80% of cleaning and cooking. Bring this up, suggest we split chores. He's immediately defensive. Says he does yard work and car maintenance. I tell him that's maybe 2 hours a week. While I'm doing daily cooking, cleaning, laundry. He says, but you're home more. I work from home. Doesn't mean I'm home. He doesn't seem to grasp the distinction. We eventually agree to split cooking. But his idea of cooking is ordering takeaway. Or throwing burgers on the grill. When I cook, it's actual meals, planning, shopping, prep. We're definitely not splitting equally. Month 3, and his mother visits for a week. She's lovely, but has strong opinions. Keeps suggesting I should quit remote work. Focus on making a proper home. Maybe start thinking about babies. I'm 33. Time is ticking, she says. Tells me story about how she quit teaching. When she had Jake, never regretted it. Her husband provided well. She focused on family. That's what marriage is about, she says. I smile politely, but internally screaming. In UK, my mum would never suggest I quit working. She'd think that was mad. After she leaves, I tell Jake this bothered me. He says his mom means well. Just comes from different generation. But then adds she has a point though. If we have kids, would you want to work full-time? I tell him yes, obviously. Childcare exists, people manage. He looks uncomfortable. says childcare is expensive in America. And his mom says kids need their mother home. This is our first big fight. I tell him I didn't move here to become housewife.
He says he's not asking that.
Just questioning the logistics of both of us working with kids. I point out he's not questioning his own work. Only mine. He goes quiet, says we'll figure it out when the time comes. But I can tell he has assumptions I don't share. Month 4, and I'm noticing more patterns. His friends' wives mostly don't work, or work part-time in traditionally female jobs. Teacher, nurse, salon owner, real estate agent. None in tech or business like their husbands. When I mention I'm in marketing, they ask if it's like social media stuff. When I explain B2B strategy and campaigns, they glaze over, change subject. I'm starting to feel isolated. The British expat community is small here. Most Americans I meet have very different lifestyle.
Jake notices I'm unhappy.
Suggests I join a women's group, book club or fitness class, meet some friends. I tell him I had friends in London, colleagues, university mates, people I actually connected with. Here, everyone's nice, but we have nothing in common. He says I'm not giving Texas a chance, that I'm being snobby about American culture. Maybe he's right, but it doesn't feel like snobbery. Feels like fundamental differences I didn't anticipate. Month 5, and we're at his company holiday party. His boss asks what I do. I explain my marketing consultancy. He seems impressed, asks questions. Jake jumps in, says I'm taking a break. Getting settled in Texas. Figuring out next steps. I'm confused because that's not true. I'm still working with London clients. In the car after I ask why he said that. He says his boss is traditional. Might think it's weird I'm working remotely. For companies in another country. Better to downplay it for now. I'm furious. He's ashamed of my work. He denies it, says he's just being strategic. Office politics I wouldn't understand. That last part makes it worse. Like I'm too naive to grasp workplace dynamics. I've been working for over a decade. Navigated plenty of office politics in London. We don't speak for 2 days after this. Month 6, and my friend from London visits. She's shocked by how I'm living. Says I seem different, smaller somehow. Asks why I'm doing all the cooking and cleaning. I explain it just sort of happened. She points out Jake's fully capable adult. Why am I acting like his mother? I get defensive, but she's hitting a nerve. She notices other things too. How Jake makes decisions without asking me. Like what we're doing this weekend. Or which of his friends we're seeing. In London my ex and I always discussed plans. Here Jake just announces them. After she leaves, I feel even more isolated. She went back to her life. I'm stuck in this when I'm not sure I chose. Month 7, and we're at marriage counseling. My idea, Jake thinks it's unnecessary, but agrees because he can tell I'm struggling. Therapist asks us to describe our expectations. Jake says he expected traditional marriage. His parents' model works for them. He provides financially, I create the home. We're partners with different roles. I say I expected equal partnership. Both working, both contributing to home. Both making decisions together. Therapist points out we never discussed this before marriage. Just assumed our normal was universal normal. She's right, we never talked specifics. Just fell in love and jumped in. Now we're discovering our normals are very different. British versus American. But also his conservative Texas upbringing versus my liberal London background. Therapist gives us homework. Research each other's cultural expectations. Try to understand where we're each coming from. That week I read about American gender roles, particularly in conservative areas. How 1950s model still influences expectations. How American feminism fought this but didn't fully change it, especially in places like Texas. Jake reads about British culture. How class used to determine gender roles. But modern UK moved toward egalitarian partnerships. How British women generally expect to work. And British men expect to share household duties. We compare notes over dinner, both realizing how much we assumed. I assumed American men were like British men. He assumed British women were like American women. But we're products of different cultures, with different recent histories around gender. Month 8, and we're trying to compromise. Set up clear chore division schedule. He does more cooking, I do less. We trade off tasks weekly. It's not perfect, but it's more balanced. I push back on social segregation. Insist on joining conversations with his colleagues. Some of them warm to it, others still uncomfortable. But I'm not hiding in the wives' corner anymore. Jake starts introducing me as marketing consultant, not just as wife. Seems small, but it matters. We're both making adjustments. Month 9, and I join networking group for women in business in Austin. Finally meet other women who work in male fields. They all have similar experiences. Fighting expectations that they should be homemakers. Dealing with husbands who say they support equality, but still expect wife to handle everything domestic. One woman married to British man says it's night and day. Her husband does half of everything without being asked. Sees it as his home too, his responsibility. She says American men talk good game about strong women, but many still want traditional wife deep down. This resonates with me. Jake says he wants independent, successful wife, but his actions reveal different expectations. Another woman points out the politeness trap. American men are more chivalrous on surface, opening doors, paying for things, compliments. But it comes with expectation of traditional gender roles. British men seem less attentive, but they actually treat women more like equals. Less performative chivalry, more actual partnership. I realize this is exactly what I'm experiencing. Month 10, and my work situation changes. One of my London clients wants me full-time, offering proper salary, benefits, remote work approved. It's perfect, except it's London hours. Would mean working early mornings Texas time. I'm excited, tell Jake about the offer. He's less enthusiastic than I expected. Says the hours would be difficult. I'd be working when he's home. What about dinner? What about our time together? I point out I could work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Still have afternoons and evenings. He says, but mornings are when we have coffee together. I realize he doesn't want me to take this job. Not because it's bad opportunity, but because it disrupts his routine. His expectation of me being available. We fight about this for a week. Finally, I tell him I'm taking the job regardless. This is my career, I'm not giving it up. He says he's not asking me to, just wants me to consider how it affects us. I tell him if roles were reversed. If he got amazing job offer with weird hours, I'd be supportive and we'd make it work. He goes quiet because he knows I'm right. Eventually agrees to support this. But I can tell he's not happy about it. Month 11 and new job is going well. But it's creating more tension. I'm working my hours, he's working his. We're like ships passing. One evening, he says maybe we rushed this. Got married too fast without understanding each other. I ask if he regrets marrying me. He says no, but he thought it would be different. More like his parents' marriage. I tell him I thought it would be like my parents' marriage. Two equal partners supporting each other. We're both disappointed. Not in each other, but in unmet expectations. Therapist says this is make or break moment. Either we accept each other's cultural frameworks and build something new together, or we keep trying to change each other and eventually resent the relationship. Month 12, and we make a decision. Stop trying to fit into each other's cultural molds. Instead, create our own hybrid model. I keep my career, and he respects that. But I acknowledge American context is different than UK. A less support systems, more expensive childcare. He maintains his provider identity, but steps up on domestic duties. Recognizes that me working doesn't mean I'm also maid. We agree to split everything 50-50, even if it goes against what his parents did. And against what my friends in London expect. This is our marriage, our rules. Month 14, and his parents visit again. His mother makes some comment about the house. Dishes in sink, laundry pile visible. Jake jumps in before I can respond. Says we both work full-time, mom. House isn't going to be perfect. She looks surprised but backs off. Later he tells his dad we split chores. His dad looks uncomfortable. Says something about modern marriages. But Jake holds firm, says it works for us. I realize he's actually changed. Not just going along to keep peace, but genuinely believing in our partnership. Month 16, and I'm at dinner with his colleagues again. This time I sit with the men. One of the wives joins too. We all talk about work and projects together. It's not perfectly integrated yet, but it's progress from that first segregated dinner. After dinner, Jake's boss comments. Says, having diverse perspectives in conversation was interesting. Maybe they should change up these dinners. Small victory, but it feels significant. Month 18, and we're settling into rhythm. Not perfect, but functional. I work my London hours. He works his Texas hours. We trade off cooking, cleaning, everything. Neither of us living exactly how we imagined, but building something that works for both. One evening we're having wine on the porch. I tell him I almost gave up several times. Considered moving back to London. He admits he thought about it too. Wondered if we were just too different. But we're both glad we stuck it out. Not because everything's resolved, but because we learned to see each other's perspective. He understands now why British partnership model appeals to me. I understand why American provider model feels natural to him. We're creating third option. Month 20 and my London friend visits again. She says I seem more like myself. Not smaller anymore, back to full size. She notices Jake doing dishes without being asked. Meal planning together, discussing weekend plans as equals. She's impressed by the change. Asks how we got here from where we were. I tell her honestly, lots of fighting. Lots of therapy. Lots of uncomfortable conversations. But mostly both of us willing to examine our assumptions. About what marriage should look like. What gender roles should be. What partnership means. Jake joins us. We all laugh about that first year. How clueless we both were. How much we each expected the other to just know. He says Americans and Brits think we speak same language. But we're really speaking different dialects. Same words, different meanings. Especially around relationships and gender. My friend asks if we want kids eventually. We look at each other. Say we're still figuring that out. But at least now we're figuring it out together. Not assuming we're on same page. Actually discussing expectations and logistics. 2 years in, and we're planning trip to London. Jake's first time meeting my extended family. I warn him they'll be less openly warm than his family. But they'll be judging how he treats me. British families care about partnership dynamics. He's nervous but ready. Says he wants them to see we're equals. That he respects my career and independence. This matters to him now in ways it didn't before. We arrive and my family is curious about him, watching how we interact. My dad pulls me aside second day. Says he likes Jake. Can tell he genuinely respects you. That matters more than anything else. My mom talks to Jake about his work. Then asks about how we handle housework. Jake honestly explains our 50-50 split. How we had to work through different expectations. My mom approves, says that's how marriage should be. His confusion when we first married makes sense now. He grew up with different model entirely. On the flight back to Austin he's quiet. Finally says he understands now. Why I expected what I expected. My family operates so differently than his. Everyone works, everyone contributes at home. Nobody questions this, it's just normal. His normal was completely different. Neither wrong, just different. And we've had to build our own normal. Anyway, that's my story. About marrying American man expecting partnership. Finding out his American and my British had different meanings. How we nearly broke up over cultural gender role expectations. About learning that love isn't enough. You need compatible visions of partnership. Or willingness to create new vision together. We chose the second option. Not easy, but worth it. Neither of us living like our parents did. Building something new that works for us. Still fighting sometimes about dishes or schedules. But fighting from place of mutual respect now. Not from place of incompatible assumptions. If you're dating someone from different culture, don't assume same language means same expectations. Especially around gender, partnership, domestic life. Have the uncomfortable conversations early. Before you're married and stuck. We got lucky that we both wanted to change. Both willing to examine our cultural programming. Not everyone is. The gender role stuff is deeper than we think. Shaped by our cultures in ways we don't see. Until we're confronted with different normal. American men and British men both speak English. But they learned very different lessons about what manhood means, what partnership means, what marriage means. Same with American and British women. We think feminism is universal, but British feminism and American feminism have different histories and different goals. British women expect work and equal partnership. American women still fighting for that in many places. Neither fully achieved it, but we're starting from different points.